Thank you for joining us for another episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for professionals in the public relations and marketing world who work for themselves. I am Michelle Kane. My company is Voice Matters, and I am here with my fantastic co-host, Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. Hey, Karen, how are you today?
Hey, Michelle. I'm doing great, my friend. How are you?
I am well. I am so glad that January is over. By the time our listeners hear that, it hasn't been the worst month as far as snowfall or anything, but I just sense as I see hearts and flowers creeping into things on social media that globally, I think we are just kind of done with this first, wintry month of the year.
It's so funny that you said that because I saw something the other day that said, oh my God, this is the longest month ever. And
Right?
it hasn't been a bad month at all for me either, but
No.
I'm over it. And it does.
Yeah.
It feels like, okay, well, is this month ever going to end? And this week is like, is it Friday yet? I thought it was Friday on Tuesday. I'm like, it's not Friday.
I know. And it probably speaks to the fact that we're being good, diligent professionals and really hitting it hard in the new year. And that brings a certain sense of fulfillment. But I think it's also probably natural that we're all, subconsciously over it, coming off the holidays and just kind of like, okay, this is what it is now. And so that's why
I'm fortunate enough to live in a part of the country, as I do, where the sun is something that you remember from a long, long time ago. It definitely feels like one long gray day
Yes.
after day after day of zero sunshine.
Yes.
Cold. Sometimes you melt it with rain and snowflakes. I'm ready for February too.
Yeah. And, the days are getting longer, which I've noticed, but yeah, it definitely brings a challenge. And so that's why today we're going to talk about motivation and momentum.
Yeah, I'm excited about this topic.
Me too. Yeah. So, it's important to keep your energy high, and it's important to keep your cup full, both professionally and personally, because they both work together. Of course, we are not machines. We're not AI yet. We're still human beings. So, it's really important to take care of ourselves and to find ways to, both sharpen our tools professionally, but make sure that our energy and psyches are fed personally too. So yeah, this is a good thing to kick January to the curb with, keeping up our motivation.
Yeah, and you and I were talking prior to the recording. I feel like I talk a lot about your mind and about self-care, but the reason I think I talk about it a lot is because our mind is really our instrument, right? And so what we think about is really who we become, and it colors, our perspective, either in a positive way or in a negative way. And one of the greatest tools that we have, not only as entrepreneurs, but I think any professional, is learning to tame those thoughts. And the way that you can tame those thoughts is by realizing that you are a whole person and doing the things that keep your mind and your body healthy.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not like you're going to master it and you're never going to have, what they call monkey mind, where your thoughts are everywhere. You're never going to have a worry creep in or a negative thought, but it's being aware of that and shifting, because, I can, be fully transparent and say that there was a day this month that I just had a terrible day.
Right.
And ended the day, I just sat back on my couch and the whole day had just descended into darkness and despair because I was frustrated with something that had happened at work, and then somebody else frustrated me. So now I'm in frustration mode, right? And I made the mistake of not putting a stop to that mentally and going, okay, let's move on. I marinated in it. So, what you meditate on is really what you become. And then I started to see everything through this lens of frustration, which turned into despair. By the end of the day, I was convinced that My dog even hated me,
Oh
and that
no,
going right, that
never.
everything was wrong. And I sunk into the couch, pulled my hoodie over my head, and was in the fetal position. And I'm honestly, I laughed about it later that night because a friend actually, zapped me out of it. But I'm happy to lay bare that experience just so that that it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how long you've been in business. It doesn't matter how things are really going, that we can all fall prey victim to this. And the key is not to stay there. Right.
Right, right. Yeah. And I also shared that for the longest time, I thought that was a strong point, to ruminate on things and, really think hard and try and get to the crux of things. And well, why is this? And how can I? And, think about, I was, clearly I was given this intellect and, this inclination to think this way. It must be a good thing. And it has taken me a really long time to realize, no, rumination is not the best thing. And overthinking, certain elements, well, really overthinking in general doesn't mean you're just, bopping around going, ha, 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 everything's pink and fluffy and fabulous. No, but just knowing when to stop, have that really pencils down moment in your own mind and think, have I really done all that can be done here? And, shift it. And saying too about, stopping yourself. I can tell when I am run down, I am close to incapable of stopping that mind flow, right? So rest is so important to staying sharp and being able to say, nope, I'm not going to go down that road. I have the energy to both realize and actively think in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And, it does matter.
Mm-hmm.
So get your sleep, which I know, sleep.
I mean,
Sleep is for
and
nerds. No, it's
everything.
actually for all of us.
Yeah. I mean, it's sleep. It's, and I love that you say that. I don't love that you experience it, but I think that we PR types in particular, and I want
Oh,
to broaden
yeah.
that PR types, and I think anyone who is in a strategic role, you are almost hardwired to be an overthinker, and because you have to anticipate,
Correct.
right? So in PR, we know that we overthink everything because that's our job. It's our job to overthink for clients. It's our job to look, for all of those nuances. It's our job to look for what can go wrong because we have to prepare for those things. And that's great. It's a great trait to have in the work that we do, but we have to
Right.
learn when it comes to our professional and personal
Life in
life, like
general. Yeah.
in terms of now you're the business owner, there's a certain amount of overthinking that is necessary, but you can't venture over into the dark side.
Right.
You
Right.
gotta
Right.
rein that in.
Right. Right. And, there's a little sense of paranoia to that too, right? Of, oh, what was the tone of that text or that email? Is that client going to go away? And really, it probably was absolutely nothing. So that's the kind of thoughts you have when you're in that mindset. But when you're not, it's totally different. And I so agree. What makes us good at our jobs of pointing out potential, doing the troubleshooting. And when you're talking about either a situation or a campaign, okay, here are the what ifs of what could go wrong. We need to be ready for that. I used to joke when I worked in-house, I can't remember the name of the song, but it was an old Billy Bragg song. It's talking about a little black cloud in a dress. And I'm like, that's me. You pay me to be your little black cloud. Sometimes.
I love that.
It's like, I don't mean it's, you couch it that I'm not coming at this from a naysaying point of view, or a place of negativity. But, that all speaks back to, yeah, we drill down and we think through, okay, what could possibly go wrong? Yeah. And how do we at least be aware of that? And yeah, sometimes that does bleed over into how we think about our businesses, how we think our lives are going. It's just,
and I think that's why, and I know, busy professionals really can be bad at this. When I neglect it, I notice the difference. When I'm consistent with this particular practice, I notice the impact that it has. So a couple of little things that you can start to incorporate if it works for you is one, I really try to kind of set my mind and intention at the start of the day. So I block out time and
Mm-hmm.
I protect that morning time like it is, like nothing else in the world matters, because I know that how I start my day for me personally really has a huge impact. So that means,
Right.
that personal time for me for prayer and meditation and working out and just having that quiet space to say, okay, here's what's on the agenda. Here's what's really important for me to get done today. And then allowing myself to like calm my mind down and get rid of like all the junk at the start of the day helps the day go better. And then at the end of the day, I
Absolutely.
quickly jot in my planner. And yes, I do use a paper planner, but you could do this digitally. Um, but I quickly jot down, one or two things that either I'm proud of because I got done, or something that I solved, or something that went well. Just that little,
I
a
love
little
that.
act of gratitude at the day, because we forget, right? And when you have those
Right.
times, you can forget all the good that happened. And then the final thing that I do is at the end of the month, I block time. Well, I block it out before the end of the month, but at the end of the month, I block out a little time. I have time blocked out in my calendar to spend a little time reflecting. And I just
Mm-hmm.
sit and make notes, and that helps me to really look at the entire month and to remind myself the things that went well, the habits that I'm working on changing. I can really take a look in a quiet space. I do it away from the office, to remind myself, like, okay, you know what? It may not have been a 100% success, but guess what? These are the steps that you took, and here are the things that you did well, and you didn't quit. And I mean, so there's all of those
Right.
little moments that we forget to capture and really cement for ourselves, to remind ourselves that, you know what, things are pretty good. And then you can use that to then look at the next month and set your goals based on what happened, but you're looking at it from a lens of celebration rather than
Right.
beating yourself up for, the one or two things that you didn't do perfectly.
I think that's terrific. That's so inspirational. It's so simple and it's something we can all do and I aspire to do. And then I just, I it's shameful. I start my day thinking, okay, what do I have to get done today? Okay. And then this, that, and the other. And that time to stop and reflect, because it could be just tiny things like a conversation where you might feel uncomfortable and yet you power through and you did it and it was fine. And, you realize that you had another head battle that you conquered. Things like that really do reinforce, hey, I got through this. I had the privilege. A friend of mine did a talk a couple of weeks ago, and her name is Kristen Smith Myers, and it was on the power of positivity. And she talked about how she pulled up a study, and I sadly don't have the stats at the ready, but apparently only 10% of your unhappiness comes from your circumstances.
I believe that.
50, yeah, 50% of your capability to be positive is genetic. So we've got that. So you've got, a whole 40% that, well, 40 to 50 if you count, your circumstances, that you can get around this, you can get through this. So it was really encouraging to learn that and to just know that, yeah, it's, there is a lot to just saying mind over matter.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
that, I when I was training for a marathon and I was in a running group and had a coach, he was always used to say, if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Um,
Yeah.
and it's so true. Like
Yeah. People might say, oh, it's cliche, but it is so
it's
true.
not. I mean, and I think athletes, the
Yeah.
great athletes, really get that. They understand the mental toughness is
Yes.
so, mental toughness is as critical as skill.
Yeah.
So we
Absolutely.
can learn a lot from
Absolutely.
that, that when you're mentally
Yeah.
tough, then that is far more important, I think, in our business than even skill set. Because if you're weak in a skill, you can
Right.
always connect with someone else. You can bring somebody else onto your team that has that strength. But the mental part of it, nobody can do that for you.
Right. Right. That resilience, the ability to get through bad times and navigate good times well also, or just acknowledging that, hey, you know what? I might be feeling a little burnout. What can I do about that? Well, make sure you're doing things you enjoy in your free time. Make sure you carve out free time. I know we've talked in the group about, thank God that the hustle mentality seems to be waning and people are realizing that that's just it's not sustainable. And if you want your business to thrive, if you want your career to grow and thrive, however you carry it out has to be sustainable in the long run, or you won't have a long run. It's just that
So
simple.
true.
So
So
yeah,
true.
yeah. And it could be simple as the things we talk about a lot, on this podcast. Get out in the sunshine when that sun does peek out, pop out, even just stand outside for 60 seconds and just hold your face to the sun. I have consciously not been wearing sunglasses during the winter, thinking, you know what? That's a little extra vitamin D to my eyes, and I'm not squinting too badly when I'm driving. So bring it on. Little things like that can actually, really go a long way. You just don't know. And, and especially this time of year when you're definitely more inclined to not go out, either because you don't want to catch the flu or you just don't want to go outside. Make yourself go to a local coffee shop and treat yourself to that latte or sweet treat that you've been eyeing up. It breaks up the day. I have found that when I am feeling that way and I make myself do it, I'll bump into someone that I didn't know was going to come across my path.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's led to a business discussion. Sometimes it's just brightened my day, pure and simple. You just never know. But if you feel those little nudges, honor the nudge and get up and out and do a little something for yourself. You'll come back to your desk and your work refreshed and ready to engage with the day in a positive way.
I agree. I mean, it's that little shift, I
Yeah.
have I read a lot, but I noticed this year that Kindle allows you to set reading goals. And I thought, yeah, that's on my list. I have a certain number of
Ooh.
books that I want to complete this year. So I was able to put it in Kindle. And even sometimes just taking, half an hour in the middle of the workday and reading something that
Yes.
strengthens me makes the biggest difference. Or, I have a fur baby, so I don't have the luxury of ever not going outside, which is probably good because I promise you, winter, you would never see me.
Right.
You would never see me because the gig economy runs my entire life. Everything gets delivered. And I have a treadmill and I have a workout room. So there would really be no reason for me to leave the house. I wouldn't do it.
Well, yeah, I'm right there with you. Yes, if my dog did not have to do things out in the
Yeah.
grass, I think in the
Yeah.
winter, I think,
But
why would I?
I
Maybe
take
once a
talks
week,
with her, and sometimes I'm talking over, business problems. She's a good
sure.
listener, so I'm working through things, or I'm listening to a podcast, and that, so I come back and 20-minute walk, and I feel refreshed because I've moved, which is good. So I've had a little bit of exercise. I've had some fresh air. Even if there's no sunshine, there's still something about being outside and appreciating that you're outside. And then,
Right.
combining it with something else that kind of picks me up. And, inevitably, I'm listening to a podcast and I hear a thought and I'm like, oh, that's genius. Or, oh my gosh, I never thought of it like that. So, those are tiny things and they don't take a lot of effort. They don't really cost you anything to just keep renewing your mind.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, is really just making sure you're both recharged, challenged in certain ways for sure.
Yes.
Um, and really the challenge lies in keeping your thinking on track, taking care of yourself, which, might sound indulgent. And I get it. You might just be starting out in business and you think, oh my gosh, I don't have a nanosecond of time to do
Make it.
that. But yeah, and just trust. 10 minutes away from it is not, things aren't going to fall apart. Trust me, because,
Yeah.
I know Karen and I have, both owned business going through major life situations of loss and things. And guess what? You'll find out your clients are supportive, they're understanding, and everything will still be there.
And I think unless you're
So,
working with clients that, have a fire hose toxic culture, hopefully you're not. It's not the clients, it's you. And even if you work in an
yeah,
organization, it's not them, it's you. And I think that no one is going to give you time. No one's going to do that for you, whether you're employed or in business for yourself. You have to take it. And
right.
so I just build stuff into my calendar, the month out,
It's
at
genius.
least I look and I block off time. So there will be a block in my calendar for focus time. There's blocks in my calendar for taking a walk. There's blocks for, planning, and strategy. And so putting it in my calendar, and then, I use Google. And so I have it automatically, when I have those times blocked off, I have it automatically decline meetings because I'm unavailable. Or I'll set myself out of office for an hour just so that I have an hour to do whatever I need to do. No, because no one's going to do that for you. No one's going to say, oh my God, you're exhausted and stressed and you need to take a break. I have to build that into my life and schedule. And so putting it on the calendar protects that time. And I find that I honor it because it's there. So when something and it's like, oh, focus time, it's like, oh, okay, yay. So glad I had that on there because I would have done something different.
Forgotten.
So,
right. Blown it off, forgotten, just said, maybe not today. Which, and I do schedule certain things in, like, okay, I think I'll hit this yoga class this week. And, one of my 2020 goals is to get better at just going like, you know what? No, I'll go Friday. Or, and the next thing you know, 2 weeks have gone by and you haven't done it. And then when you finally do get back to it, you think, why don't I stick to this? What's wrong with me? I feel so great. This is so important. So it's really, I worked with a business coach at the beginning of starting my business, and she nailed me as a client. She sealed the deal when she was speaking at an organization, and you're not going to be able to see this, but she held both hands up by her ears and just kind of moved them. She's like, your problem is right here, meaning it's between your two ears. It's you. And I think, nailed me. Thank you.
yeah.
So it's really about establishing these little milestones for yourself, and plan things to look forward to. I have started to do that. I have started to make sure that I at least have a concert or something to go to every 6 weeks. And
That's brilliant.
Because I know that seeing live music, of course, I'm a venue snob, so it's got to be the right kind of venue. And okay, is everyone going to be cool? Like, they're not going to just like talk through the show, are they, or whatever? So yeah, that's a whole other issue. But because I realize when I don't go and do that in a while, you just feel a little deflated, and you're not sure why. And you think, no, I need this. I need to be out here and taking this 90 minutes and just having this sink into me. So whatever that is for you. Sometimes too, because our business, even if we are hunkered down in our offices, we're still thinking on behalf of others, thinking on behalf of ourselves, and just, it's output, output, output. Sometimes I just luxuriate in hitting a matinee because it's just me, a dark room, and some popcorn, and hopefully maybe I'll get entertained.
Yeah.
No one can find
good
me.
about that. That's my February focus is I have a February focus, but this year in 2020, I'm going to get better about some of those life things because I tell you, I can neglect them.
Oh, trust me, there's a whole other ton of things I blow off really well.
like,
But
concert like out in public with people? That sounds
yeah,
fun.
well, I mean, it's dark, and if you go by yourself, you don't really have to talk to anybody. See, the introvert's way of going to a concert.
I love that. That sounds very appealing to me. And I always love the idea of it. And then I'm like, ugh, that's the
Well,
whole
yeah.
thing.
No, it's true. There's a whole thing. In fact, there's something coming up this summer, Hoagie Nation. Thank you. Hello, Philly. A Hall and Oates curated festival.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes. Well, so, my friends and I were thinking, oh, where are we going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And I love my friends. A few of them are like, well, we're just going to do lawn seats. And I'm like, I did not do lawn seats when I was 20. I'm certainly not doing them at this age. So I'm like, okay, what's the most reasonable ticket I can find? I'm like, this is why I love that most of the bands I like are, $30 in small venues. This whole large venue whole day thing
that's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot, right? So anyway, so I'm like, no, that lawn is pretty steep at the Mann Music Center. We joked about sneezing and rolling down the hill 30 years ago. I'm certainly not going to try that now.
And if lawn seats are your jam, then just make
go for it.
That into your schedule.
Go for it. But
lawn seats.
Anyway, yeah, and the point being that sometimes it does feel like, even doing something fun is so much work. And I know when I get to that point in my mind, the well is almost dry. Yeah. And I need to figure out, my way out of it.
That's a great point. I mean, and you're right. Lately, I feel less like that. And it's because I know that I'm getting sleep and I'm getting nourished properly. And so you're right. And I've been doing better about caring for myself in some ways. I've still got progress to make. So you're right. Everything doesn't feel like such a chore, but that's such a good point. And I was bad about that last year. Like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I got to get dressed and do that. And I just wanted to take a nap. Like I would rather just take a nap. That's just too much effort. And if you're feeling that, there's probably something else going on that you need to address, honestly. Yeah. So let us not, make light of that. If you're struggling to do things, it's either you could be depressed or, or something could be off internally, your hormone levels, vitamins. So just make sure to take care of the underlying issues because we don't ever want to insinuate, and we're not experts on mental health, but we don't ever want to insinuate a deeper issue could be solved by taking a walk. Because that is not true. We're talking, if everything else is fine and you're physically and mentally healthy, these are ways to keep yourself that way and sustain that.
Yes, by no means are we, saying pull yourself up by your bootstraps, suck it up. No, this is actually the antithesis of this. Yeah, make sure your mind and body are the well-oiled machine it needs to be. And a lot of times you need some help with that. And nothing wrong with that at all.
Absolutely, we recommend it. Definitely. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you broken in any way. You shouldn't be ashamed of that. We have to do what we have to do to make sure that we are in optimal condition. And sometimes that means, seeking outside help to get there. And you should do that. You should absolutely do that because you want to be at your best in every area of your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you need to keep you as, highly functioning as possible. And the way to do that is to make sure you're taking care of yourself. It's, we say that to each other all the time. Oh, make sure you take care of yourself. And it's kind of become the new, I'm fine.
Yeah.
but we mean it for sure. And, these little activities, these little things, they truly do add up. And, especially if you're a business owner, it's really important that you make sure that you're, in prime working order, for lack of a better way of saying it, as much as possible. And it's okay to be good to you. Why not?
Yeah. Right? Agreed.
So, well, we hope you've had, gotten a little something out of this. I know I'm inspired to pull out that paper planner that I started a couple of months ago and put away, and pull it out and put it away and pull it out and put it away. And I love the idea of almost doing a gratitude journal in the morning to set the tone for your day. I love that. So thanks, Karen. Thanks for
You're
that.
welcome. I'm so happy that I could pass on something that's worked really well for me. And listeners, we so appreciate you. And thanks for joining Michelle and I for these chats and conversations. We look forward to this time together as well. It always brightens my day spending time with you, Michelle. And
Likewise.
it's just so, delightful to welcome listeners into these conversations, because that's what it feels like. It feels like we're, in a small, intimate setting, even though we hope to grow our audience to be less intimate.
No, and it's true. Yeah, this is definitely the bright spot of my week. To just share wisdom with you, Karen, and just to touch base, and really, it just in our conversations with each other, it makes us realize, we're not alone in this, and we hope our listeners, we hope you feel that as well, that you're not alone in this, and either working in this profession or having your own business, you're not alone. We all go through so many of the very same things and challenges. So we hope this has lifted you up. And as always, we would love to hear your ideas. Tell us how you either break out of a funk or make sure that you stay energized and positive throughout the days, months, years. We would love to hear that. Of course, subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, and tell your friends. Click that little share button. It takes a half a second and you'll feel better. Trust us.
Yes, you will feel better.
So until next time, thanks for listening to That's All Alone.